You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain and the Top 10 Gardener Podcast. Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show.
And we are back with Lisa Waterslane in the studio. She comes each week with your garden questions, just what are neighbors talking about. And they've been talking. We had a record weekend, Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Just kind of set all kinds of, blew past all kinds of, 61 years, blew past all those. So people were energetic. I think part of that's compressed season. It was cold so long, people waited, and normally they would have planted 2-3 weeks earlier, but they didn't. They planted now, and so we had it compressed. So
I would agree.
I'll take it either way.
Either way, we'll take it. It's nice to see people out gardening, working in their yards. That's exciting.
I actually like spring because you get to see all your garden friends coming back. You haven't seen them because it's like snowing and it's just cold outside. Now it's everyone's out.
Yep.
It's kind of, you get to see that community of gardeners is very tight knit. Right. Fun to see everyone.
Very much so. Yes.
So gardening questions. What are we talking about, my love?
Sure. So Ashley's in Prescott. She has some roses that have lots of wonderful buds, but those buds are not opening. And they look kind of brown on the roses. She wants to know, by golly, what happened? How do they fix it? Make it better.
So I mentioned that the previous segment, but basically that was on trees, but they're thrip get into roses as well. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is where that rose bud comes out, there's a little tiny bug that crawls inside the bud, and they nest. There's more than one. It's like a whole community of thrip. Or no-see-ums are inside the bud. If you were to actually break open that bud, you'd see bugs kind of jumping around inside the bud. They're eating the flower from the inside out. And that's why I tell folks, you should put rose food with systemic on your roses earlier. So it's like April and March even. Put it on so the plant will actually absorb this food and with the bug inhibitor inside the actual rosebud. And so that's what it's too late now because they're already in the bud. So what do? Pray over your roses. That's all you can do. There's no way to get them. Once they're inside the bud, we can spray them. So I would say spray right now, no question, with triple action. It's a neem oil. It actually will take care of any bugs that are exposed onto the plant itself. So at least you don't have more damage. It's hard to get it inside the bud. Focus inside the buds on the buds as best you can. It does have a fragrance to it. It's got an odor that insects don't like. So you get a repelling action that'll help keep off the aphids, the thrip that are coming, that will keep coming. And then fertilize with the rose food with systemic. Do it now. So it's better to do it late than never. And then some of those buds won't open. Most, I think, will. And as it opens, that damaged or that brown or black petals, they kind of float to the outside, and the inside will be beautiful. And so I think you're going to recover, Ashley. You'll be fine. But now you know for next year, prune back in March, and then right afterwards, fertilize with the rose food with systemic. And really, you're only doing that early spring because this is when this bug shows up. They don't like summer. Right. They like spring. They like the cool, long days. This is when they thrive. It'll also help you with aphids. Watch out for aphids. They're starting to show up now as well. I've seen mildew showing up too. So powdery mildew's on just the leading indicators.
I think the cooler nights and the humidity have started that a little early too.
Triple action, Ashley. Come in and get some right away. It'll help you with all three of those: aphids, thrip, and mildew.
Yep. Okay. Next question is from Deb in Prescott Valley. She says, my neighbor has a large tree covered in purple blossoms that hang down. What is that tree?
It's so Deb. Pretty. Great. So everyone's commenting on them. So they opened up last week. They always open up for Mother's Day. If you want a beautiful shade tree for years and years, for decades of Mother's Days to come, you plant purple robe locusts. That's what that tree is. So there's a big tree out there. at all elevations. They've probably been blooming longer over in the Verde Valley, that side of the hill, the Sedonas, Camp Verdes, those areas. That's purple robe locust. And over here, this side of the hill, a little bit higher elevation, they just opened a few days ago. And so those are, it's got a wisteria kind of flower that hangs down about a foot, 8 inches or so. And the tree is just covered. And it will bloom like that for darn close to a month. And then it's just this beautiful shade tree up to about 35 feet tall, about 20 feet wide. And then locust, anytime you hear the word locust is a great tree for here. So they generally have smaller leaves, so they take our wind. They don't dry out as easily. There's another one that's a companion to that, that's a cousin, called golden locust or honey locust. You're seeing this bright, bright yellow tree right now. That's golden locust. That they go together. So they take the wind, they're drought hardy. Now the golden locust doesn't bloom so much, but the foliage is so stunning that you just go, wow. And it looks really good against the native blues, dark greens, companion planted with aspens, just as a good contrasting plant. Then as we mature, that plant will actually turn green. So it's green through the summer, but the new growth is always gold. For the purple robe locust, it always puts on the flower first, then it leaves. And so you see this dramatic, like it's noticeable when you see it in bloom. You're going, wow, I got to have me one of them.
It's pretty fast growing for a locust, right?
Oh, very fast.
Robe.
Yeah, very fast.
All right, we covered that.
I was waiting for you to comment on the accent I use. I got out of my box going, sorry. I don't even know where that came from.
I'm so used to hearing you do that.
I don't know, sir. Never mind. I'll just start offending people.
Yes.
Stick with my Irish accent.
No.
Matey.
Matey?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not even going to go there. All right. Jack from Prescott says, you mentioned using different products for great tomatoes, but I didn't write down what you mentioned. And can you cover that again, please?
Jack, you got to take better notes. It's super easy. And there's a YouTube on that. I just shot one on our YouTube channel, and go take a look, or type in tomatoes in our website, watersgardencenter.com. There's a search bar, type in tomatoes, probably the handout and the video will show up. So that's a repository of all garden content that we produce here. So Jack, it's an easy way to go back and take a look. So for those of you that are driving down the road right now, if you're note takers, pull over, pull out the notebook, take notes. Otherwise, just go to the website, watersgardencenter.com, type in tomato, it'll pop right up for you. But here's what it was. So whenever I am planting tomatoes, just planted one yesterday morning, there are 3 things I do. 1, plant it deep. And then at the bottom of that tomato, where the roots are going to grow through it, sprinkle a little bit of Aqua Boost crystals. I wish I had that, could show that for our video folks tuned in, but for the audio folks, visualize for me. Aqua Boost are polymer crystals that swell up and hold up 200 times their weight in water. This is going to help reduce that cracking skin, thick skins, tough tomatoes, because that's usually it's a water issue between cool. You're watering in the morning, so things are nice and plump, and they dry out during the day. And this fruit just ebbs and flows. It swells and shrinks, and that's what causes that cracking. So Aqua Boost actually bridges or makes it more consistent with its watering, so you don't have that happen. It's a game changer. Every time I plant a vegetable, a flower, anything really, I'm sprinkling some Aqua Boost at the bottom where the roots are. In addition, I mentioned 2 products that I'm spritzing the vegetable garden with. Specifically, tomatoes and peppers are the most famous, but tomato and pepper set is what it's called here. When the plant is up to size and starting to set flowers, spritz it. Start every other week. Spritz that plant with basically fruit set or tomato and pepper set. It'll force the plant to slow down and start to set more fruit. In addition, we're famous for blossom end rot here. So that where that flower touches the fruit, it will actually rot off. And so that's almost a classic example of calcium deficiency. So there you're spritzing, again, another kind of ready to use spray. You're spritzing the plant with yield booster. Yield. Trying to go. What is it? Yeah. Yield booster. So yield booster and blossom set, those two things once a week, just change them off and you will have unbelievable fruit count. Larger fruits, sweeter tasting because calcium brings out the flavor of your vegetables. That's Aqua Boost, Yield Booster, and tomato and pepper set. There you go. Jack, you got it all. Again, check the website. We were out of time like 10 seconds ago. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this. Waters Garden companion plants in May are Vining Akebia, Purple Robe Locust, Prescott Sunshine Geraniums, and Indian Hawthorn.
Wind is no problem for this Indian hawthorn.
Rose-colored flowers cover this spring bloomer that often repeat blooms in fall.
Dark blue berries adorn this compact bush that takes the wind and soaks up the sun like a native.
Perfect for low-maintenance gardens with virtually no pruning, ever.
Every backyard should have at least one, and only found here at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. You're listening to Ken Lain, aka the Top 10 Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week in Prescott at Waters Family Garden Center. Listen daily as he answers the top 10 questions of the week, streaming on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts.